On our life's journey, as we seek purpose and connection, we are called to place our faith and trust in something greater than our own understanding. We are called by someone who already loves us and offers himself to us, Jesus Christ. His body, given daily, his blood poured out for us. We never journey alone in life. Through the Eucharist, we encounter his real presence and others who share our faith. Together, we become one with him in his very flesh. And when we bring his presence out into the world, we can be light for others. This is the gospel call to make disciples of all nations, laying down our lives for others. The time is now to unite our hearts with his for the life of the world.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
We'll introduce you to a 12-year-old who's overcome incredible odds and recently sang the national anthem at the East-West Shrine Bowl. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
I'm Steve Kiltonic in Holyoke, where the remains of a World War II Navy sailor were finally laid to rest, 82 years after his ship was sunk at Pearl Harbor.
And a visit to St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow as it prepares to celebrate its 100th anniversary. It's all just ahead on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. Today we begin with an inspiring story. St. Michael's Academy 6th grader Andrew Bennett recently took to the national stage as he sang the Star-Spangled Banner at the East-West Shrine Bowl in Texas. This after being treated for a rare bone disease at Shriners Hospital in Springfield. As Carolee McGrath reports, Andrew is shooting for the stars, and he just might be one someday.
12-year-old Andrew Bennett is in 6th grade at St. Michael's Academy in Springfield. He's a great student who loves to read, especially to his little sister Madeline.
Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked.
He is also a born performer and has been entertaining people since he was little. But Andrew has had his fair share of obstacles to overcome. His father says he had a slight limp that they noticed. After a trip to Shriners Hospital in Springfield, doctors diagnosed Andrew with a rare developmental bone disorder.
In my left foot, I have Trevor's disease. And Trevor's disease is when an extra bone forms where the joint is, which cancels out some flexibility and motion inside the foot, which makes it harder for me to run. And when I was younger, people always saw me running and I was always like limping. They're like, is he limping?
As he was growing, his leg didn't seem to be growing quite as fast as his right leg. And then one weekend he had a performance that he had to do. When he got done, he could barely walk. So we decided we were going to go get it checked out.
Just a few days before Christmas, Andrew had surgery to remove an irregular mass in his foot. And not too long after that, he was back at it, this time representing Shriners on a national stage, performing the national anthem at the East-West Shrine Bowl in Texas. The East-West Shrine Bowl is the longest-running all-star football game in the country, which benefits Shriners Hospital.
It's an honor to sing such a beautiful song in front of so many people.
And he crushed it.
It was awesome. The players, they met all the players from both teams. They were able to get on the field. They played games with them. But they were so great with the kids. And then the game itself on Thursday night, he sang. Then we got to sit and watch the game, and it was a great game. I think the West ended up winning, but it was a lot of fun, and the kids enjoyed it.
At 12 years old, you could say that Andrew is well on his way. He's already been in 13 musicals, 2 Hollywood movies, and he sings and leads music at Mass with the St. Michael's Academy Choir.
If today you hear his voice.
He recently led the psalm for the Chalice of Salvation Catholic Schools Mass at St. Michael's Cathedral.
Definitely God has given him these beautiful talents, and he's using them in the right ways. You know, he seems committed to what he's doing. He's enthusiastic about it. He's, like I said, very humble about what he has, but he uses his talents the way God would want them to be used.
This is Andrew's first year at St. Michael's Academy, and he's learning quite a bit about his faith and the saints.
I learned about Saint Cecilia. She's the patron saint of music, and I really like music, so she's kind of my patron saint too.
And it's a good choice for sure, and definitely keep an eye out for Andrew. The young actor and singer has other projects lined up. Reporting for Reel to Reel in Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Congratulations, Andrew. So exciting. And there's so much talent coming out of our Catholic schools here in Western Massachusetts. And speaking of Catholic education, I recently paid a visit to St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow, which is poised to celebrate its 100th anniversary this year, taking pride in educating the whole child, mind, body, and soul. Each day begins with prayer at St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow. The cornerstone for Catholic education here was laid in 1924, with the Sisters of St. Anne from Canada arriving the following year. Classes being taught then in French and English. Shelley Rose has been on staff at the school for 26 years, first as a middle school teacher, and this year will mark 20 years as principal.
The Sisters of St. Anne's opened the school, and I think it was one of the first schools where boys and girls were in the same school. But the boys were on one side and the girls, they were in class together, but the boys had one door, the girls on the other.
Throughout the hallways and stairwells, students are encouraged to be responsible, Christ-like, conscientious, caring, and strong. All steps to a good foundation that educators like religion teacher Jonathan Laurent Wood are instilling in their classrooms. This is Mr. Wood's first year teaching at St. John the Baptist. He brought with him a statue of St. Aloysius that originally stood in the former Holy Trinity School in Greenfield. The patron saint of young people greets the students.
So he's there welcoming the kids in the morning. A lot of the kids did not know who this was, and so it was great. You know, the plaque is still on there, gift of the school children of Holy Trinity, 1940-43. So the statue was, you know, donated during the middle of the Second World War. All those pennies that went to donating the statue, and it survived.
On this day, the 8th graders are prepping for a Lenten project, interpreting the Stations of the Cross and writing prayers relating to life today.
Dear Jesus, walk with all the people struggling with sickness and deteriorating conditions. Make them strong, just like you were, and show them that there is hope on the other side.
From religion over to math, Amanda Crespo's 5th graders are working on rounding decimals and place values, relating math to everyday life.
Greatest to least. Did you guys finish it?
So the kids are like, what do we need this for when we're older? And I always tell them, yes, you might have a calculator in class or at home, but when you're out shopping, are you going to be able to round your decimal? And no, I only have X amount of money.
This was a fun, hands-on activity for putting decimals in order.
We love math!
And Logan, David, and Ryan all learned the importance of this skill.
So we can add money, subtract money to see if we have enough money for the thing. Like if a candy bar is like $1.20 and a soda can's like $1.30, we have to add that and make sure that we have enough money for the stuff.
In Desiree Van Nordwick's 2nd grade classroom, the students were playing a fun game to help learn their spelling words. Can you spell girl?
G-I-O-L.
And can you spell skirt?
S-K-I-O-T.
And her?
H-E-O.
And spell worth?
W-O-R-T-H.
Very good. Well, I think you're going to get 100 on Friday. From its founding as a French school to today, educating the whole child, Mrs. V, who is originally from South Africa and is working on her master's degree from Springfield College, sums up the feelings of the teachers, staff, and students at the parish school.
St. John's has been a godsend, to be very honest with you. I'm just so blessed to be here. I just think it's an answer to prayer. I thank God every day for where I'm at my school. Being in an incredible, loving environment is just wonderful.
And if you'd like to support St. John the Baptist School, they're holding their annual chicken pie dinner and dessert auction coming up on Saturday, March 2nd from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Pastoral Center on Hubbard Street in Ludlow. For more information, call the school at 413-583-8550. That number again is 413-583-8550. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Westfield's annual Lenten lecture series is ready to kick off with a theme that's sure to inspire folks this Lent. And a World War II Navy sailor is finally laid to rest in Holyoke. It's all still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio,
just finished this today,
and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
And now some events throughout Western Massachusetts that we want to share with you. This Thursday, February 22nd at 6 p.m., a new prayer group on grieving is meeting for the first time at St. Mark's Church in Pittsfield in the Father Leonard Hall located on 400 West Street. The purpose of this group is to create a community where individuals would be able to receive support in managing the process of loss through the lens of the Catholic faith and other practical measures. Again, the group is meeting this Thursday, February 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Father Leonard Hall on West Street in Pittsfield. On Friday, February 23rd, Elms College is hosting its 7th annual Black Experience Summit, sponsored by the Sisters of St. Joseph. The theme this year is Forging Democracy, Black Womanhood, and the Long March for Civil Rights. Two distinguished speakers, Dr. Brittany Cooper and Dr. Kelly Carter Jackson, both professors and authors, will lead discussions on the impact Black women have had in shaping America. Visit iobserve.org for a link to free registration. And on Sunday, February 25th, from 1 to 5 p.m., the Sisters of St. Joseph will be hosting their annual Irish Gala at the Castle of the Knights, located on Memorial Drive in Chicopee. The afternoon includes music from John Connors and the Irish Express Band, dancing, corned beef sandwiches, desserts, Irish breads, raffles, and so much more. Tickets are $35 and must be purchased in advance by calling Sister Ellie Harrington at the Development Office of the Sisters of St. Joseph at 536-0853 or Marty Kearney at 552-0569. Many more events and Lenten retreats can be found on our diocesan calendar of events at diospringfield.org. Millions around the world have been captivated by the series The Chosen. taking viewers on a journey of faith. It's inspired viewers to read the book and experience a relationship with God. This Lenten season, Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament Parish in Westfield takes on the Chosen phenomenon. Kathy Harrington has more.
It was incredible. And Drew, what did you see? The Lamb of God. He who takes away the sin of the world.
The excitement to share the news of the Messiah continues 7 years after the release of the first Chosen series.
Put that down for a catch.
Oh, I tell everybody about it. I want everybody to come and see it because it's just so special.
A fan since the beginning, Yolanda McInerney encourages others to come and see. That is just what Father Dan Pacolic wants people to do this Lenten season.
I was giving a homily. It was the period between Christmas season and the beginning of Lent, and just talking about the invitation of Jesus to the disciples to come follow him, to come and see. And that come and see kind of rang a bell with me.
The Chosen is the theme for the Lenten series set to begin on February 21st. Father Pacolic credits the Holy Spirit with drawing millions of viewers to the series.
One would not think that Jesus would be like a superhero or have that kind of attraction, but that's what's so beautiful about this series, is that somehow people are seeing an actor portraying Jesus in this series, a very well done series, and it is getting their attention in some profound ways.
Getting attention on Netflix, YouTube, the Chosen app, the Angel app, cable channels, and at watch groups like this one at Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament. There are so many ways and opportunities to see the series and learn more about Jesus and his ministry.
I think it's better in a group, so you get more everybody else's ideas about what they're looking at.
We get together here with a group of women and men, whomever wants to come, and we watch it here, and then we discuss about it, we talk about it.
They keep us focused, and then they explain things that we would have missed if they didn't tell us about it.
Bishop William Byrne is the guest speaker on week 1. The host of Anchored on Catholic TV, Monet Sousa, has led the Chosen discussion groups with young adults and is the guest on February 28th. The Lenten series takes you behind the scenes of the production, and you'll meet a Westfield family who joined the cast as part of the 5,000 fed by 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish.
It was pretty amazing, being around everyone dressed in costume in the way the times were, not having any phones around, and we were all just networking and just being together. It was nice. It was very hot though. We took the kids, so it was an experience for the kids.
Jesus entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Simon's mother-in-law lay sick with a fever.
Who are you?
I think it's cool because you get to see the Gospels in like a unique aspect. Seeing the faces to all the characters gives it more depth, and it provides a perspective that you don't usually see, rather than just either reading it or hearing it at church.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then The Chosen, a powerful visual presentation of the life and ministry of Jesus, should measure its value in the billions of souls.
As people see The Chosen in their native language, it's relational. It's not just a story on a page or a depiction, but it speaks to their soul.
Trying to reach 1 billion people is the goal of the Come and See Foundation. Learn about the nonprofit ministry created to make the production of The Chosen possible, benefiting from the moviegoers and direct donations. Sarah Stern will also share how Come and See aims to break the record for the most translated series in the world. The Lenten series, Wednesdays at 6:30, beginning February 21st at Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament Church in Westfield. I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
The Lenten series at Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament Parish begins this coming Wednesday, February 21st at 6:30 p.m. and continues each Wednesday through March 20th. And finally today, a deeply touching ending that took 83 years to happen. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941 was a defining moment for the greatest generation. One of the many Navy sailors who lost their lives that tragic day was a young man from Holyoke. Steve Kiltonick has the story now of pharmacist mate second class Merle Hillman's final journey home.
In the early morning hours of December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. More than 300 Japanese aircraft targeted Battleship Row, 8 battleships that were the pride of the American fleet. All of the vessels were either sunk or damaged. 21 other ships were lost, and 170 aircraft were destroyed. 2,400 Americans lost their lives, over 1,100 on the USS Arizona alone. The next day, President Franklin Roosevelt addressed Congress.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
On board the battleship USS California was a native of Holyoke, 25-year-old pharmacist mate second class Merle Hillman. The California was struck by 2 torpedoes, but because its watertight doors were open for inspection, the vessel flooded quickly. One bomb ripped through the California's deck, detonating in the ship's interior and causing a fire. The crew abandoned the ship, which eventually sunk. 104 men died, including Hillman. Listed as missing in action, Hillman's remains were recovered but unidentifiable and later buried with 51 other unknowns at Nuuanu Memorial Park in Hawaii. In 1948, 30 sailors were disinterred and identified. The 22 unknowns were reinterred at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific, also called the Punch Bowl. At her Oak Street home in Holyoke, where Hillman grew up, his niece, Cheryl Quinn, spoke of the family history. Merle was born in Chicopee. His family were parishioners of St. Jerome's in Holyoke. Quinn's father, Donald, was Merle's older brother. Marjorie was an older sister. Merle's mother, Gertrude, was a well-known singer, but died when Merle was 1.
He had a tough beginning, like to lose his mother when he was a year old, be raised by his grandmother and grandfather. And, he had a loving family, a lot of aunts and uncles around, and they all lived in this area, very close-knit.
After his death, not much was spoken about Uncle Merle.
My father and my aunt did not talk about him very much.
The Holyoke Senior Center occupies the city block where Hillman's old Holyoke High School once stood. Hillman's 1933 yearbook, the Annual, is one of the few remaining documents that shed some light on Hillman's personality before he joined the service. From the 1933 yearbook, Quinn discovered Merle's high school nickname was Mitch.
It said something about he enjoyed brushing his teeth. He had bright white teeth, and he was running around the school halls in knickers. So it made me think he might have been into theatrics.
It was said Merle would be, quote, an able successor to Lawrence Tibbett. Tibbett was an American actor and singer who had many leading roles at the Metropolitan Opera for over 3 decades. His favorite song was Louise by Maurice Chevalier.
Every little breeze seems to whisper Louise.
One thing in the yearbook stood out.
Isn't that prophetic that he didn't really grow up?
Hillman posthumously received a Purple Heart.
I love the picture of him that was used with his sailor hat on because it just makes me look like he was a very happy-go-lucky person.
In 2011, Cheryl received a call from the Navy requesting a DNA sample from her and her cousin Merle. She hoped something might come from the DNA analysis.
I kind of forgot about it again, and it's just something that I never, ever thought would happen.
In 2018, the remains from the 22 California unknowns were disinterred for possible identification. Last November, Cheryl was watching the news when the phone rang. It was Chief Beatty from the Navy.
And he said, well, we've identified his remains. And I was just in shock. I just couldn't even believe it at first. Of course, I started crying, and my son said, oh my God, who died? And I said, they found him. They found Merle.
Hillman was one of 5 sailors identified from the California. On December 7, 2023, Chief Beatty visited Quinn and presented her with a book that contained detailed information on Merle's 4-year service record.
It had the whole history of where he had been and It showed the remains, what was remaining of his body, and they had some of the larger bones. They had his skull.
A surviving California vet said Merle was most likely below in the ship's galley helping the injured when he died. Cheryl's son, Brendan, first learned about his great-uncle in grammar school.
I think it was around, 9 or 10. We're in school learning about history. And my mom had said that your uncle had been in Pearl Harbor.
In 1992, Brendan attended the dedication of Holyoke's World War II monument.
I went down to Veterans Park here in Holyoke, and just having so much pride in the fact that my uncle's name was on it.
In 2001, Brendan enlisted in the Army at 21, 2 weeks before 9/11. He went on to serve in Iraq with the 3rd Infantry.
100%. It was my first hero. He was the reason I joined. The courage that he had to do it back then, and I just knew it was, as I got older, it was something I always wanted to do from when I was a little kid.
The Navy escort who accompanied Hillman's remains the entire journey home requested the assignment.
He said, "It's a Holyoke boy bringing home a Holyoke boy."
From Hawaii, the plane flew to Texas, then Charlotte, North Carolina, before it arrived at Bradley International Airport. On January 27th, Merle Hillman was escorted from the Barry Farrell Funeral Home to St. Jerome's Cemetery in Holyoke, passing under the American flag at the entrance. Veterans groups, dignitaries, and others from across the state came to pay their final respects.
It was just nice to see the reaction of the people of Holyoke, that they lined the streets when we were going from the funeral home to the cemetery, and a lot of people were at the cemetery with us.
It was 82 years in the making, and we wanted to make it as special as possible. He's definitely getting the hero's welcome he earned and deserved.
Hillman received full military honors at the funeral. Governor Maura Healey ordered all state flags at half-staff that day. Maura was laid to rest next to his brother and sister. For Hillman's family, the funeral finally brought closure, but was bittersweet.
It's just so nice. I can't even put it accurately into words. It's been a very moving experience for all of us.
I just couldn't believe it after all these years, that there was still something there, but we're glad we were able to bring them back.
I'm just sad that my dad and my aunt didn't live to see this, because I know it was very important to them. But I'm sure they know. He's with them now.
Every little breeze seems to whisper Louis.
Petty Officer Second Class Merle Hillman will always be remembered forever young, frozen in time as that smiling, happy-go-lucky Navy sailor, white cap tipped to the side, with eyes fixed on a bright future. Merle, it seems, will never grow up. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
After the funeral, Quinn learned that Merle was likely a golf caddy, possibly at Holyoke's Wyckoff Country Club. The family also spoke with a 108-year-old high school classmate of Hillman's who remembers him happily driving around town in his new car. They welcome any other information from the public on the life of the World War II hero from Holyoke. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to follow the latest news of the Catholic Church both here in Western Massachusetts and around the world on our news and information site, iobserve.org. There you can read articles by our Catholic Communications reporting team and our partners at Our Sunday Visitor. Plus, you can view past episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. And we are also on Facebook at Catholic Communications. And I'll see you right back here at this same time next week for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Enjoy your week.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.